The BOOcast synth of the month is the PWM Malevolent. So here's the Malevolent, and it's tiny and it's lovely. So here we go, let's have a look through. So we've got some keys controls here with an arpeggio rate. There's an arpeggio in here. LFO, we've got triangle and square output and a rate. The VCO1 and VCO2 are identical pairs. So we've got a saw and a triangle and a pulse and a mix out. These are all continuous. These bypass the filter and the envelope. And we've also got modulation in. Now, that side of the box, it says it's a modular synth. So we have modulation of each VCO. So we've got pitch right down to click land. All the way up to very, very high music for dogs indeed. And there's a fine tune knob so you can get yourself right into the pitch you want. With shape mod, we can modulate the shape of each of these waveforms. Also, there's a very nice little cascade of buttons here, so we can select our waveforms and mix and match them. So already with here, we've got, there's quite a lot of tonal flexibility because it's really nice to be able to sort of blend them together. But yes, with shape mod, so we can adjust the shape of each of these waveforms. So let's start with the sawtooth. It has a very interesting shape modulation. There's all kinds of octaves shifting in and out, some phase stuff happening, and it's a little bit more than your usual run-of-the-mill pulse width modulation stuff. So the shape mod is by default linked, as you can see from this green writing here. Although it's on the box, it's badged as a modular synth. In fact, it says it on front. I am modular, it's saying. Well, yeah. These green little bits of writing here show you where things are default patched inside, so there's wiring going on inside, so you don't need to plug anything in to get sound out. So the shape mod is coming from LFO as the triangle, so there's triangle out. So let's turn the shape mod up with the pulse width. So as you can hear, it goes through 0, and straight away there's a rhythmic thing happening. So you can pull it at various stages in the cycle and pull these rhythmic, shifting, tonally interesting waveforms out. Let me just bung the lot on. So listen to that. As you can see, it's a very interesting bit of wave shaping going on. That's pulse width modulation, but on all three of the waveforms, you can hear them all at once. You can catch them at different parts of their cycle, so you can get all these interesting rhythmic things coming out. Go. One VCO going through this, one LFO. Unfortunately, the LFO can't be synced to external tempo. However, you can sync the Arpeggiator to the LFO, which is, and there's a way around it. But as you'll see, this whole synth has got a feeling of, as soon as I did play it in Glasgow at Rubber Dub, and I just went, oh, bloody hell. It was screaming at me like a little monster. It was just, it was great. As soon as I saw it, I just thought, this is reminding me of something. It's giving me a feeling of something from my childhood, like something from the early days of when I first discovered synthesizers. It's a little bit out of control. It's a little bit it's just feels a bit broader than usual. These things seem to be, this tuning. Listen to that. That tuning range on its own just makes me think, oh, okay, we're wide open here. Let's see what's going to happen. So yeah, the other oscillator is exactly the same. We've got these level controls here. Oh yeah, God, I've completely forgotten. We've also got two FM modulation sources for the pitch of the oscillator. So by default, it's coming from envelope 1 here, and by default, the second one's coming from the LFO. But obviously, you can patch and get yourself connected to other sources or even external sources or whatever. I personally can't wait to get this little baby connected to the fuse box and the Dominion. Can't wait to do that. So there we go. So let's bring in the other oscillator. Turn it on. And this fine tune is lovely. I said these are two identical VCOs. Something that strikes me about this synth is it's not just a VCO plus another VCO. They seem to have an effect on each other when you push them. If you haven't seen the interview with Finlay Shakespeare on Sonic State's Patreon page, you should go and look at it. He talks about his inspiration of making this synth, and he said, if I didn't know what a synth was, what would I build? And instead of listening to other synths, he listened to music. So lots of music from the 70s have inspired this synth. So there's a kind of, we're getting early Human League vibes off lots of this, whatever. Around about the 12 o'clock mark, they behave normally, they sort of add to each other, but it feels to me, I'm not sure if it actually does it in the circuitry, but it feels to me like when you bring one up and add it to the other one, they kind of inform each other and change each other slightly. And that's so good. So good. Oh God. Right, okay, so yeah, there's all this modulating capability. The two things go together. I'm trying and failing to express this feeling I have where it's not just that plus that, it's that times that. And as we'll see as we get onto the VCF, oh God, let's do that now. Okay, there's a noise. There's a noise. And I think it's just white noise. Bring that down. So there's the VCF. The filter is a Salon key filter controlled by two optical field effect transistors. I think they're called opto-FETs. And watch this. So here we go. Resonance is down at 0. Let's bring it up. It's already screaming. And let's do this from the beginning. So I'm going to just take the pitch from the keyboard out and modulate the filter with the keyboard. So as you can hear, with a little bit of trial and error, you could probably tune that to the keyboard, but I'm personally quite enjoying the wonkiness of the not tuned chromatically vibe I'm getting from this. But there's, as you can see, this is screaming really, really short. Oh, hear that? The pitch changes. Anyway, it kind of changes up and down the keyboard anyway, and the level of resonance coming through changes as you move up and down according to what's going into it. And then when you, okay, let's bring the resonance right up, bring that noise down. There's the resonance. That's the filter screaming, so bring up the level of this. Hear that? Now there's no modulation coming from VCO2 into the filter, but you can hear it. It's getting into that filter, and it's really breaking the resonance up, breaking it up a little bit. Oh. Oh. So good. Now this thing's reminding me right now of the SH1, one of the first synths I ever had as a kid. You take the output and put it into the input, you know, the usual trick. It screams like that, but it's sort of like something I discovered after a long time, and this is already doing it. Something else this reminds me of is, as you probably know, we use the CSO1, the Yamaha little grey synth. Now we've got two of them. One of them I had I was like 13 or something, and I during my childhood I opened it up and did a modification on it, which was a really cack-handed modification. You open up the back of the CSO1. Inside there's a little pot, a sort of one of those flat ones without a knob on it, and you take that off and reconnect it to the breath controller, and you get access to, you can basically make it have more resonance. And again, this is a sound I absolutely adore, and it's here. It's just, this thing is just doing it. It's like it's doing a lovely resonance sweep, but it's doing it in a really naughty, dirty way. God, listen to that. And then you bring the other. Check that out. All kinds of beautiful things breaking up this. It really feels like you're exploring a world of something that has just, it's very uniquely built, and it's designed to sort of almost hurt itself a little bit in various ways that you mix these things together. Now, in the interview with Sonic State on their Patreon, Finley talked about this filter, and he said it's basically on the edge of being unstable. It's kind of only just held in place by these two octofets keeping it there. And when I heard him say that, it put me in mind of those, you know, those weird stealth fighter aircraft that are all straight lines and rectangles, and they just don't look like planes at all. And they're sort of designed to be non-aerodynamic, and they're kept in the air by, you know, hundreds of computers that basically keep them in the air. If they all stopped working, the thing would drop out of the sky like a stone, because it's not aerodynamic. But what that near instability does to that plane is it gives it the ability to make maneuvers that are almost UFO-like. It can just, you know, flip, do crazy things that normal aircraft wouldn't be able to do, because it, you know, by rights it shouldn't be in the air. That's what I thought when Finley said that about this filter. It's nearly not a filter. It's nearly broken. It's just like holding on by its fingernails, and you can really hear it. It's just go. Check that out. Bring the drive down. Sorry. hurting the drive there. As you can see, I've done hardly any patching here. There's just a little bit of pitch to the... Check that out. So this, again, this is a very beautiful, familiar sound to me. There's something about... Listen to that. Wow. Anyway, so envelope 1 is default hardwired to the filter. So we got proper ADSRs here. Let's bring that up. Very nice. Envelope 2 is hardwired to the amplifier, and there it is. This is the amplifier here. We can go to a drone setting, and when you put it in drone setting, you can hear that there's a little bit of noise in the background there as the whole thing's kind of well, Finn says it's the breathing. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I think it's great, because it's way back to the days of, this is an electronic piece of stuff that's basically I mean, I apologise. That's basically what I'm going to do. There's loads of better reviews of this synth out there. Go and find them. But let's put the Arpeggio on. So there we go. I have done very little patching. I can't wait to get into this little baby. Do you know what it reminds me of? Look at it. What does it remind you of? It reminds me of the grandmother, the Moog grandmother. Yeah? But this is a dangerous grandmother. This is a violent grandmother. This is a grandmother on glue. Thanks for watching.